Good morning, class 11A. This is Miss Seshu. Video number 5. Today we have a new topic, gas exchange in mammals. In this, we are going to take a subtopic for today is the gas exchange system. The references are in the course book, page 172 to 176. So, let us start. So, we already know that the gas exchange system is responsible for the inhale of oxygen into the blood and exhale of the carbon dioxide. And this is the system, this is the process called respiration. It is mainly taken by the mitochondria. Here in the animal cell you can see the major part is taken out by the mitochondria. Here you can see in the picture the carbon dioxide is given out and the oxygen is taken in. So, the respiration is the process that transfers the energy. And we have two types of respirations. They are aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. So, by this we have to understand that most respiration is aerobic and requires oxygen to transfer energy from carbon dioxide and lipids. So, this process results in the formation of ATP, which is the energy transferring molecule used in metabolic processes in the cells. Then, the carbon dioxide is released as a waste material. So, that means this is the process, the gas exchange in the cells occurring by the process called diffusion. For example, in a cell respiring aerobically, there is a higher concentration of oxygen outside the cell than inside the cell. So, it depends on the concentration gradient. So, that is why the diffusion takes place for the gas exchange in the cell. So, here we should know about the factors that are affecting the rate of diffusion. So, the factors are concentration gradient and the distance over which diffusion occurs. And the third one is area across which diffusion occurs. Concentration gradient means, we are looking for the first one, concentration gradient means the greater the difference in the concentration between two regions, that means outer and the inner side of the cell, the greater the amount that diffuses in a given time. So, that will be the concentration gradient factor. And the second one is distance over which diffusion occurs. That is, the shorter the distance, the greater the rate of diffusion. And the third one, area across which diffusion occurs. The larger the area, the greater the diffusion. How much the area inside it is more, then the diffusion takes place in a greater manner. Okay. So, these are the three factors to remember in the gas exchange system. So, let us see the respiratory system in large animals. In the large animals, most if not all their cells are too far from the surface of the body to receive enough of oxygen by the process called diffusion alone. So, we need to remember that the surface area to volume ratio decreases as the size of the organism increases. Okay. So, in this case, many animals have developed an external surface that provides protection for the body. By this we can see the impervious outer covering and tough or hardened skins. These outer surfaces are no longer suitable for gas exchange and the organism requires an alternative. Respiratory surface. If we compare the organisms of active organisms and inactive organisms, in the active organisms have an increased metabolic rate also, and then it is a demand for reason larger active animals have specialized organs. for the gas exchange system. And also we cannot say that all the animals having the same respiratory system, such as some animals like a fish is having gills and lungs for the mammals, the tubular system for many insects that carries air to the most actively respiring organs. So all these types of respiratory systems provide a large thin surface that is suitable for gas exchange. In addition to that, conditions for diffusion are often improved by 3 refinements. Those are a ventilation mechanism, a blood circulation system, a heme protein. These are the 3 conditions that are often improved by the organisms. Now let's move on to the lungs of mammals. Here you can see a human lungs that are structured adapted for rapid exchange system. That means rapid gas exchange. The structure of the human thorax is shown here. Here you can see the lungs are housed in the thorax. That is an airtight dome-shaped chamber formed by the rib cage and its muscles called intercostal muscles, and with a dome floor that is called diaphragm. The diaphragm is the sheet of muscles attached to the body wall at the base of the rib cage, separating the thorax from the abdomen. From the abdomen, the diaphragm is the sheet-like structure. This is separating the both structures. Here you can see this is the pleura, this one. This is the membrane covered for the thorax. This is the internal surface of the thorax is lined by the pleural membrane that is secreting and maintains the pleural fluid. This pleural fluid is a lubricating liquid made from the blood plasma. In the process of respiration, when we are breathing, some friction will be produced. From this friction, this is the fluid called pleural fluid is helping to hold the lungs to the rib cage and protects lungs from the friction. So if we observe the picture, here you can see this is the nasal cavity, and from here the mouth part connected to the pharynx, then to the trachea. This is the larynx, then this is the esophagus. This all connected beside to the trachea. The lungs connect with the pharynx at the rear of the mouth by the trachea here. What the uptake in air from the nasal cavity, from the nostrils or from the mouth, it will be reaching to the trachea. That means the air reaches from these 2 structures and then passing to the larynx. Through the larynx it will be reaching to the trachea. Entry into the larynx is via a slit-like opening called the glottis. This is the epiglottis we say. Okay, and then above it is a cartilaginous flap, the epiglottis. This is the epiglottis we say. Glottis and epiglottis work to prevent the entry of food into the trachea. This is the structure preventing the food which we have taken into the food pipe. This will be preventing not to coming into the trachea. Okay, not to coming into the windpipe. So by that you can see the trachea further divided into 2 pipes here. These are the 2 primary bronchi. Here you can see the part. These are the 2 primary bronchi which are entering into the 2 sides lungs. After they reach into each side of the lung, they will be dividing into many branches. Many times they will be dividing into tree-like structure you can see here, like many branches. Each bronchi will be dividing like this, and the smallest bronchi we call it as a bronchioles. So the each bronchioles, the finest bronchioles, we call it as the terminal bronchioles, and in the air sacs that are called as alveoli. Now let us discuss about the trachea, bronchi and bronchioles. Here in the picture you can see this is the ring-like structures you can see which is attached to the larynx is called the trachea, and which is divided into two sections like here, which is entering into each side of the lung is the bronchus, and here you can see the finest parts of the bronchi, we say it as a bronchioles. So in the process of respiration, if you are breathing the air, means that the air should be clean and neat. That means what the air we are taking into the blood, that should be taken fully cleaned. That means this should be done by something parts which are as the, we can say as the cilia, which are present in the alveolus. In the picture you can see that there is a lining of bronchioles is of simple ciliated columnar epithelium with mucus secreted by the goblet cells. Okay, here you can see cilia move mucus to the pharynx. Here you can see the dust particles are trapped by the mucus layer. So, because the air which is entering into the lungs, that should be get moistened by the epithelial cells. Okay, why it should be moistened? Because the dust particles which are present in the air which we have breathed, that should be stopped outside itself. That means these are the mucus. This is the mucus layer traps inhaled particles. The dust particles will be trapped by the mucus layer, and then under that you can see the watery saline layer allows cilia to push mucus towards the pharynx. This is the cilia. Okay, and here you can see goblet cells. These will secrete mucus like this. From these cells, the mucus is coming to trap the finest dust particles. Okay, the sticky mucus produced here moistens the incoming air and traps finer dust particles. Then the ciliated epithelium beats the mucus stream up into the buccal cavity where it is swallowed. This is the nucleus columnar epithelial cell, and this is the basement membrane. So this is the process here that is taking place in the respiration. So by this we can understand that mucus layer which is helping for us by trapping the inhaled dust particles. That mucus is secreted by the goblet cells. Okay, and under the mucus layer you can see the watery saline layer that pushes mucus towards the pharynx, and finally this trapped dust particles will be pushes into the buccal cavity where we can swallow. By this we understood what is the function of mucus and cilia. So in the next part we will be discussing about the structure and function of the trachea and bronchioles. Okay.